My husband's former wife and their daughter resurfaced, seeking their share of his family home despite the will we had meticulously crafted. However, during the ensuing court battle, we unearthed a harrowing secret that would forever change our lives. Hello everyone. If you're finding our story intriguing, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video to support our channel. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more captivating stories to you. I am a 45-year-old woman who has been married to my husband, Michael, a 50-year-old man, for the past decade. Our journey together began when we were both in our early 30s, meeting by chance at a charming local art gallery. We were both drawn to the same captivating painting, which sparked a conversation between us. From that moment, there was an undeniable spark, a feeling of instant connection that neither of us could ignore. Michael invited me out on a date, and as we spent more time together, it felt as though our souls had known each other for much longer than the few months we had been together. Coming from a modest background, I am the eldest of 3 siblings. Our family always had to be careful with our finances, often stretching our budget to afford fast food only on special occasions like birthdays. My father instilled in us the importance of hard work and perseverance from a very young age. Motivated by his teachings, I dedicated myself to my studies and managed to finance my way through college, taking on a few modeling gigs along the way. By the time I graduated, I had successfully eliminated my student debt. I had climbed the corporate ladder to become a junior associate at my current company, balancing my career ambitions with my personal life. Michael, on the other hand, hailed from a family with significantly more financial stability. His father held a prestigious position with a substantial salary and benefits, ensuring that Michael never had to worry about money. Thanks to his father's influential connections, Michael secured an internship at his father's company, where he worked diligently to carve out his own successful career path. Despite our differing upbringings, Michael and I bonded over our shared love for art and music, which laid the foundation for our deep and abiding love for one another. Michael has a 17-year-old daughter named Candace from his previous marriage. From the very beginning, Candace never seemed to warm up to me. She often avoided interacting with me, and it felt as though she blamed me for the dissolution of her parents' marriage, even though I met Michael long after his divorce from Amelia was finalized. I empathized with her feelings and did my best to give her the space she needed to adjust to our new family dynamic. To provide some background, Michael and Amelia were college sweethearts who decided to marry after a 3-year relationship. Unfortunately, their marriage quickly deteriorated. Amelia chose to become a stay-at-home mother, while Michael worked tirelessly to support the family financially. The turning point came when Michael returned home unexpectedly early from a business trip and discovered Amelia in an intimate situation with his best friend, Tom. This betrayal was devastating, leading Michael to file for divorce. The divorce was acrimonious, primarily because Amelia was determined to keep their family home, which legally belonged to Michael. The conflict extended beyond property disputes to a contentious custody battle over Candace. Due to Amelia's infidelity, the judge decided that both parents would share custody, allowing Candace to maintain a relationship with both of them. Amelia, feeling wronged, began to manipulate Candace's feelings, turning her against Michael. Meanwhile, Michael chose not to reveal the truth about Amelia's betrayal to protect Candace from further pain. When Michael and I began dating, he was open about his past, including the difficult divorce and his relationship with Candace. I appreciated his honesty and believed that our strong love could overcome any obstacles. Michael even invited Candace on a trip to Africa, hoping that shared experiences might help improve their relationship. Unfortunately, the trip did not go as planned. Candace was openly hostile towards me, often lashing out with hurtful remarks whenever I seemed too close to Michael. She labeled me a gold digger, and despite Michael's attempts to calm her, she remained unconvinced and unreceptive to my presence. Despite these challenges, our love for each other remained steadfast. After a whirlwind romance, we decided to marry in an intimate ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. Amelia and Candace did not attend our wedding, even though we had invited them. In the early years of our marriage, we enjoyed traveling the world and building our careers. I was deeply committed to my job, while Amelia and Candace seemed to thrive independently, with Candace establishing her own life as a social media executive in a reputable company, supported financially by Michael. 3 years into our marriage, we joyfully welcomed our son, Nick, into the world. The pregnancy was difficult, and Candace's visits became increasingly problematic. She would make cruel, unsolicited comments about my weight and appearance, especially when Michael was not around. Her harsh remarks, such as calling me a fat cow, deeply affected me. After discussing the situation with Michael, he decided to limit Candace's visits to protect our well-being, arranging for her to meet us at cafes instead of our home to minimize distress. When Nick was born, we were overjoyed and determined to balance our roles as parents with our professional lives. We hired a babysitter to help care for him, and I returned to work after my maternity leave. However, Candace's resentment only grew, and during family events she would bully Nick, leaving him in tears and us feeling helpless. I couldn't allow her to continue taking out her anger on our innocent son, so I made the difficult decision to ban her from our home and stop hosting family gatherings there. As time passed, John and I recognized the importance of securing our future. We decided to create a will to ensure that our affairs were in order. Michael, having already provided Candace with an apartment, designated our son and me as the inheritors of the family home. His remaining assets, including his savings, were left to Candace, while I reserved my assets for our son's future. We believed this arrangement was fair and would provide for Nick as he grew up. However, when Amelia and Candace learned about our will, tensions escalated dramatically. Whether through Michael or his parents, Amelia was outraged, claiming that she and Candace deserved the house since she had been married to Michael first. Michael firmly stood his ground, explaining that he had always provided for Candace, covering her child support, college expenses, and her apartment. He assured her that Candace was secure financially and that the property was intended for our son, which only fueled Amelia's anger. She sent me a lengthy and vitriolic text, hurling insults my way. I showed Michael the message, and he instructed me to cease all communication with her and block her immediately. The next day, Candace appeared at our doorstep visibly upset, intent on discussing the will. To prevent a public scene in front of our son, I quickly arranged for my parents to pick Nick up, leaving just the three of us. Candace insisted that we relinquish the property, asserting that as Michael's firstborn, she was entitled to the house. Despite her irritation, I remained silent, trusting Michael to handle the situation. He reiterated that he had always provided for her, and that leaving the house to us was his way of ensuring our family's future. Candace shifted her focus onto me, demanding that I do the right thing. I calmly supported my husband's decision, which only seemed to anger her further. She raised her voice and threatened legal action, prompting me to request that she leave us in peace. As expected, a few weeks later, we received a legal notice stating that both Candace and Amelia were taking us to court over the property. They accused me of marrying Michael for his money and manipulating him to deprive them of their rightful inheritance. Michael and I consulted our lawyer, who assured us that Candace and Amelia's claims lacked strong legal foundations. Despite this reassurance, I couldn't shake my anxiety, especially concerned about how our son Nick would be affected by the ongoing family drama. As the court date approached, the tension in our household mounted. Amelia's lawyer was relentless, arguing that Michael should prioritize Candace over everything else. Their strategy involved pushing for a full trial to determine the rightful ownership of the property. Living in Colorado meant we had to undergo a jury trial, adding another layer of complexity to our already stressful situation. The impending trial kept both Michael and me on edge, especially as Amelia's legal team resorted to digging up our past to weaken our case. Our own lawyer did his best to defend us, but the strain was immense. Unexpectedly, we received a call from Tom, Michael's former best friend, who insisted on meeting us at our home. After the betrayal that led to Michael's divorce, Michael had severed all ties with Tom and was reluctant to see him. However, I persuaded Michael to meet Tom, hoping it might help us resolve the dispute more quickly. When Tom arrived, we braced ourselves, anticipating another attempt by Amelia's side to undermine our case. To our surprise, Tom came with a confession that would shake Michael to his core. Tom revealed that he and Amelia had been involved romantically long before she became pregnant with Candace. He disclosed that Amelia had confided in him that she believed Candace was his child, not Michael's. Despite knowing the truth, Amelia chose to stay in the marriage for Michael's financial stability. Tom had urged Amelia to tell Michael the truth, but she had steadfastly refused. This revelation was shocking and utterly heartbreaking. Amelia had managed to keep this significant secret for years, even as she fought over the family property. Her actions had caused immense turmoil within our family. Tom admitted that he had remained silent all these years because he believed in Amelia's love for him. However, witnessing the pain our family was enduring due to the court battle, he could no longer stay silent. He broke down in tears, asking Michael for forgiveness. Michael, still in shock from the revelation, remained silent, processing the devastating news that Candace was not his biological daughter. I felt a surge of anger and frustration, especially seeing Michael's emotional struggle. I had always tried to maintain a cordial relationship with Amelia and Candace, even in the face of their hostility, but now that the truth was out, there was no reason to continue the facade. Without delay, I contacted our lawyer to inform him of Tom's confession. Our lawyer advised that for Tom's statements to be valid in court, we would need concrete evidence, such as a DNA test. We devised a plan to invite Candace to dinner under the guise of wanting to reconnect, intending to discreetly collect a sample for testing. Candace, though surprised, agreed to come over, maintaining her usual rude demeanor and continuing to belittle me and our son. She remained confident that she and Amelia would win the case, taunting me with threats of losing everything. After Candace left, we immediately reached out to our lawyer to collect the DNA evidence from her cup. On the day of our court appearance, we received confirmation that Tom's confession was accurate. Candace was indeed his daughter. I felt a sense of relief, knowing that the truth was finally out, but also empathy for Michael, who was grappling with the revelation that the child he thought was his own was not biologically his. I informed our lawyer that I was prepared to testify, and he agreed that sharing our side of the story in court was the best course of action. Taking the stand was emotionally taxing. I felt a mixture of anger towards Amelia for her deceit, sympathy for Michael's pain, and determination to protect our family's integrity. As I recounted our experiences, including the emotional abuse from Amelia and Candace, and presented the DNA evidence, the truth became undeniable. The jury saw through Amelia and Candace's false claims, and the verdict was in our favor. We were awarded the inheritance of our family home, just as Michael had intended. Amelia and Candace's attempts to manipulate the situation were thoroughly discredited. In the aftermath, our friends and family had mixed reactions. While many supported our decision to reveal the truth, some criticized us for shattering Candace's life. Reflecting on this, I shared our story on Reddit, seeking opinions on whether our actions were justified in refusing to relinquish our property and exposing the truth in court. A few days later, I provided an update, noting that many believed Candace might have already suspected her mother's lies. Winning the court case had lifted a significant burden, allowing us to move forward. My main concern shifted to Michael, who was still deeply affected by the revelation about Candace's true paternity. I arranged for him to start therapy to help him cope with the emotional turmoil caused by Amelia's deceit and Tom's betrayal. A month later, we began to see improvements as Michael continued his therapy. Unexpectedly, Candace reached out to apologize for the pain she had caused us. She admitted that she had always been jealous, believing I had taken her father away, and that she had come to realize the truth about her mother's infidelity. She expressed a desire to reconnect, and Michael reassured her that he would always be her father. While her apology was heartfelt, rebuilding our relationship would take time. 3 months after that, Amelia made an unannounced visit to our home, seeking our help as Tom had left her and asked her to move out. Michael firmly refused to assist her, emphasizing that the apartment was intended for Candace and that she was not welcome to move in. Recognizing that continued interaction with Amelia would only bring more drama, Michael and I decided to sell our family home and relocate to another state. This move was motivated by our desire to escape the toxic environment and provide a stable, peaceful life for our son. As we prepared to sell our home and start anew, we felt a sense of closure and hope for the future. Leaving behind the turmoil caused by Amelia and Candace, we looked forward to turning the page and building a happier, more harmonious life together.